In the horrible case where two teens escaped after allegedly being held, abused, and captive by their mother and her boyfriend.
Both were arrested in Louisiana after an Amber Alert was issued on Tuesday. Again, we want to warn you, the images and details in this story are graphic. Anieli Ruiz has been following the case. Anieli, what did you learn today?
Well, guys, these documents shed more light into the abuse the teens were facing. The mother was charged with aggravated assault to a family member and aggravated assault here in Texas. The boyfriend charged with continuous violence against the family. The twins were not only allegedly beaten, but they were also forced to eat their own waste and even drugged.
Let us in, please.
Two traumatized teens begging neighbors for help.
We just need somewhere to be right now.
Or documents reveal how the abused twins were able to escape from their mother and boyfriend's home early Tuesday morning. Documents state the boy found the key inside his mother's purse. He hid the key in his mouth until his mother and her boyfriend were asleep. That's how they were able to knock on neighbors' doors for help. One mother finally let them in and called police.
They literally were running for their lives. I mean, they knew that if they stayed there, what was going to happen with them.
And thanks to this neighbor, investigators were able to unravel the horrible abuse the teens had endured since at least July. According to court documents, the teens said their mother would strike them with an extension cords, curtain rods, and metal poles. The records say the boy told deputies his mom's boyfriend punched his hand last week. Injuries neighbors say were visible.
Their skin, I mean, the little kid had like scratches and scabs and bruises all down his arm, down the back of his body.
Documents state the mother would make them drink chemicals such as bleach, Lysol, and would spray easy-off oven cleaner in their mouths if they talked too much, and say she would pour bleach on them, causing their skin to burn, including in their genital area. The girl told investigators that her brother defecated and their mother made them both eat it and drink his urine.
Don't understand how a mother can do this to her kids.
And court documents also state the teens were both given Benadryl. The boy said he was given 24 tablets, which caused him to have a seizure. After he had a seizure, he says, he was only given 20 tablets to go to sleep. The girl said she was also given Benadryl to go to sleep.
And I have no doubt that these kids would have not made it alive if they had not escaped, because they were literally skin on bones.
Well, the kid's mother and her boyfriend had a court hearing this morning in Louisiana. Texas has 30 days to extradite them. Now we're waiting to hear from officials to see when this will happen. We know the twins are recovering in the hospital here. The other 5 kids are in the care of Louisiana CPS. Anieli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
Thank you, Anieli. We will continue to post any updates on this case on air and on our website, khou.com.
Before I begin my commentary, I want to do a small disclaimer. The following content may be triggering to some viewers. Therefore, viewer discretion is advised. What can cause a mother to hate the very children that she gave life to? Now, don't get me wrong. There isn't a manual or a rule book when it comes down to parenting. However, besides providing a child's basic needs, which includes food, clothing, housing, medical care, and an education, we are expected to meet a child's emotional, physical, and developmental needs. We're responsible for protecting our children from harm and abuse, not inflicting it.
To open the door. Finally, right. This happens at something like 5:30 in the morning. Here's for all of you to watch at home.
Help us. Help us. Help us. Mom, please help us. Mom, please. Thank you.
Bless her heart, that neighbor who let her in. God knows what would have happened if she hadn't. She lets them in.
Yeah.
She feeds them. She calls the police. Unbelievable. And they
Chris,
say to
they
her,
actually went door to door.
Go
They
ahead.
actually were going door to door. And some people were, in today's world, you just don't want to open your door for anyone. But this woman, a single mom, took it upon herself to bring them in. And thank God she did. As you mentioned, she saved their life.
the nurse documented this with all the pictures. I lost you there for a second, Jeff, but she took these pictures to make sure that everything was documented. She called the EMT. The kids told her that there's another set of twins and that only the twins were treated the way they were, that they had to live in like a closet and the other kids lived in like the laundry room, and the abuse was much more severe for the twins. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, that's what we've heard too. But again, we haven't interviewed any of those children or the parents at this point. And we're hoping to do that. But that is exactly what we're hearing as well. The kids were very calm, kind of an eerie calm, but they were very truthful and very forthcoming about what they had been through. So there's no reason to disbelieve their story about the other twins.
They're so undersized
as well.
They're so undersized, which, as you know, you and I both know from these kinds of cases, is not unusual when kids are that uncared for.
Right.
Even at their age, 16, it's not a typical 16-year-old who even knows if they were allowed to go to school. They had just moved into this area from Baton Rouge a couple of weeks earlier, so they were new to the situation. But in looking at the facts here, the mother had a pre-existing case in 2012 for having a 5-year-old abuse allegations because of severe burning that was suggested to have been the kid being held underwater. I wonder if one of these two kids is that kid, because 10 years later, a 5-year-old would be 15 or 16.
It's a really good question, Chris, and we're all looking into that as well. It's mentioned in the court documents when they were filed on here for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
In Louisiana, we have our issues. But you really making this look bad. How dare you? And those babies are 16 years old? Are you serious? Those babies are so tiny. What the heck? You know what? Before I make this statement, I want to do a small disclaimer. I'm not a violent person. I don't promote violence at all. But I need 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes alone with her in the room. 5 minutes. That's it. That's all. Now back to my commentary.
Particular couple, once they're found guilty, if so, and sentenced.
Are they denying?
The previous record will come into effect.
Are they denying?
Pardon?
Are they denying, to your understanding? Are the parents denying any of this?
No, I have not heard anything about their demeanor or if they're remorseful or anything at this point. Again, we're waiting to get them back into Harris County so we're able to actually interview them ourselves.
How heavy could the charges be?
Right now, they're facing, and again, this is just, we haven't even talked to them yet, but aggravated assault with a deadly weapon of a family member. It's a first-degree felony for her, I believe a third-degree felony for him, and the first degree could go anywhere from 5 to 99 years if convicted.
What is the deadly weapon? What happened exactly?
Well, in the report that the district attorney took, the deadly weapon was actually a oven cleaner that they sprayed constantly in the children's mouths. Jesus. They also hit them with curtain rods and with extension cords. And you could see on the young man's side there, they had quite a few cuts that were healing already. But the deadly weapon was basically chemicals and also the extension cord and the curtain rod, Chris.
My God. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
I have not. I was a television reporter for 31 years covering the police. I remember Andrea Yates when she drowned her 5 children here in the Clear Lake area just outside of Houston. It brings back just horrible memories. And then you brought up that other family nationally. So, yeah, we're seeing it. It makes you wonder how much this is going on behind closed doors that we don't know about. So I'd like to remind everybody, if you think you know something, if you see something, say something, because it's actually, we could convict the young man there, the boyfriend, even if he didn't do anything, because he witnessed it. He knew what was going on, and in that presence, you're guilty already.
He is not the father biologically of these kids, to our understanding. They have different names. Right. Supposedly that's the situation. But as you said, if you're there, you're going to pay a price. And
that's correct.
We'll wait and hear what their side of it is. You're welcome back here to tell us, please. We'll stay on this.
No, initially I was like, why didn't she open the door? Why didn't he open the door? But in today's climate, and I mean, you all can attest to the same thing, it's so hard to trust anybody. You know, one minute you're at the door, opening the door, thinking you're helping someone, and the next second you have a gun drawn to your head. So I could understand how some people had, you know, a little apprehension toward helping the kids. I'm just grateful that this woman, she saw something, she felt something, and she acted on that action, and she let the babies in, and she saved their lives, because if their mom or her boyfriend would have caught them, it wouldn't have been good. And the little girl even said the day before she tried to get away and she was beaten severely in the head. And I mean, even when they got away this time, they didn't have shoes on. The little boy didn't have on a shirt or anything. I mean, these kids were so tiny. It's just heartbreaking. But I'm just glad that this lady was able to see past it, and she opened the door and helped those babies. She basically saved their lives.
Going door to door searching for help after escaping a house of horrors. Here's Fox 26's Randy Wallace.
The twins are seen on this ringtone video. The girl is holding a pair of handcuffs. The homeowners are away in Dallas.
You need some help?
Yes. Can you put a lot of sand, please?
What's wrong with you? What? What happened?
Can you please? We just need somewhere to be right now.
No, we can't do that.
The twins also showed up at this man's door.
And I spoke to them. I didn't open the door. I was like, oh, so what can I do for you? And they were like, please, we need a place to sleep. And I was like, no, I don't know you, so please get off my property. And they left.
The twins are now in CPS custody getting treated at a hospital. They told police they had been handcuffed. What do you think about this?
It's heartbreaking. It's pathetic, and I think it's satanic.
On Monday, their mother, 40-year-old Zakaya Duncan, and her 27-year-old boyfriend, Joe Vitero, and 5 boys ranging in age from 7 to 14 were all subject of an Amber Alert. The couple was arrested in Louisiana. The 5 boys are with relatives. According to court documents, Duncan has been convicted of injury to a child in Baton Rouge. According to court documents, Duncan has been convicted of cruelty to a child in Louisiana. Court documents from 2012 in Baton Rouge state she submerged a 5-year-old child in hot water, causing serious burns. Police say they found a 20-month-old infant wrapped in clothing with his hands bound. The document states Duncan and her then-boyfriend made the victim do push-ups for an hour and forced the child to sleep on a closet floor. Boards were placed in front of the closet door to keep the victim from escaping and stealing food from the kitchen. Duncan was on probation from 2013 to 2020.
So if you do the math, just like the man said, this was the same child who she was accused and convicted of abusing back years ago. So I don't even understand how Louisiana, how did we drop the ball? Because this has been going on. It's been going on. So I know initially I said, give me 5 minutes, but now give me 30. Give me 30. Let me do what I need to do. And that's going to be it. That's going to be all. What kind of sick individual are you to make your children eat their own feces and drink their own urine? How about you do that? How about you get locked in the cell 24/7 and you eat your own feces and drink your own urine? Let's try that on for measure. Let's see how that works. What kind of sick individual are you? I don't even think she needs to go to trial, because guess what? She's been convicted of this already. So let's just throw her ass in jail. Excuse my French, but this is so sad and sickening. Throw her in jail. She doesn't need to waste any taxpayers' money. We know she's guilty. Throw her ass in jail and throw away the key. She does not deserve to be a member of this society. I'm sorry. I said what I said.
Disturbing allegations of abuse after authorities capture a Houston area mother and her boyfriend in Louisiana. Thank you for joining us. I'm Keith Garvin.
Good evening. I'm Daniela Guzman. That couple was at the center of an Amber Alert today after 5 children were reported missing in Cyprus. And now we're learning that 2 of their siblings may have been handcuffed inside of their home.
KPRC2's Bryce Newberry live downtown at the Harris County Jail with the new details. Bryce.
Keith, this all started with teenage twins escaping from their Cyprus area home, handcuffed, bruised, and malnourished, according to deputies. And tonight, their mother and her boyfriend, captured nearly 300 miles away, are being brought back here to the Harris County Jail to face charges. This is the silver Mitsubishi SUV that a mother and her boyfriend fled the state in, surrounded by Louisiana State Police in Baton Rouge late Tuesday. Inside, 40-year-old Zykia Duncan and her boyfriend Jova Terrell, who took off from their Cyprus home around 5:30 Tuesday morning with 6 of her kids, ranging from 7 to 18 years old. The Amber Alert issued at 2:45 Tuesday afternoon as Sky 2 captured deputies outside the family's home. Louisiana police only found one of the kids while arresting the suspects a couple hours later. The rest are safe at a relative's home where the suspects allegedly dropped them off. This started after Harris County deputies say Duncan's 16-year-old twins escaped from the home Monday night and found someone to call police, claiming they didn't know the address because they hadn't lived there long and hadn't been outside recently.
They've been here for about 2 weeks, so they're definitely new as well.
Deputies say the twins are now in the hospital and in CPS custody after allegedly being handcuffed, bruised, and malnourished. When deputies went to the home to investigate the abuse allegations, the rest of the family already fled. Louisiana court records show in 2012 Duncan was accused of 3 counts of cruelty to juveniles after doctors treated her 5-year-old for burns consistent with being submerged in hot water. The child also regularly slept on a closet floor with boards in front of the door to stop them from escaping and stealing food from the kitchen. Both the mother and her boyfriend are expected to be brought back to Texas, where they will face first-degree injury to a child charges. There's no word tonight, though, when they will be back here just yet.
Louisiana, we failed these kids. And where are all of our mandated reporters? So you mean to tell me nobody witnessed the abuse of these kids? Nobody seen the poor physical conditions they were in? So they lived in a box. I really find it hard to believe. 10 years ago, when she abused these kids, there should have been a termination of her parental rights. I'm sorry. Because if you think about it and you put 2 and 2 together, 10 years ago, she was accused of abusing a 5-year-old by putting them under water, possibly drowning them if she would have kept them under long enough. But for some reason, she was only put on probation and she still was allowed to keep the kids. So tell me this, 10 years ago, a 5-year-old, now the kids are 16. So who do you think that kid was? The 16-year-old that got away. So all this time, can you imagine what we do not know about? All the abuse that these kids have went through all these years? This is sickening. If there was no family members that wanted to step up and take the kids, they should have been placed under adoption, because this is ridiculous to allow these kids to withstand and go through this. Like, what happened to humanity? Based on all that we know and all that we see, this was definitely grounds for termination of parental rights. I'm sorry, it was. The fact that these kids were allowed to remain in the home, and the fact that she continued to have more and more kids, that behooves me. But I don't understand how there was no probation officer or any childcare service worker that would periodically go to the home and check on the kids to make sure they're well, to make sure they're not being abused anymore. Like, what happened? The ball was dropped. Like, I I don't work for the state and I don't know the law, okay? So I'll be the first to say that. But I'm sure in this circumstance, if this was the sort of thing that was going on, why wasn't these actions set into play? Why wasn't her probation officer going out to her house monthly to check on her, to make sure she was okay, to make sure she was treating the kids okay? What happened to CPS workers going to the house to make sure the kids were okay? Were the kids not in school? Did their teachers not see this? Like, I have so many questions that it's just crazy. I don't know what to say at this point, you guys. Like, I'm really at a loss for words. So I'm going to end this commentary here. I want to send my prayers out to these kids. They didn't deserve this. I could not even begin to imagine the horror that they've lived through. But we're going to send some love and light to them, send some prayers and hugs their way. And I hope that someone gets those babies and love them, like truly love them, and show them that they're important, show them that they matter. This is a sad story. We got to do better. We have to do better. Please leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Until next time.